Hi, welcome back. I'm on my Imperfection challenge day 9. And I don't know if you got a chance to look at yesterday's, but I was letting that roll through my mind a bit more over the last hours, and I was reflecting on actually how nice it is after the times that I've been through to give back something, to be a part of the YouTube platform, because in all of these years of me moving through my own growth, my own healing, I've come to YouTube many times, and YouTubers, various different YouTubers have supported me so much. I'll do a bit of a shout out to some of them, but I don't think I could actually remember everyone who's helped me, like every single message that has ever helped me. It would be quite hard to remember because it's been so many years and so many things have come into my path and helped me. But I guess this video is a big thank you to the YouTube platform and the YouTubers who've been, brave enough to share all of their stories and their lessons in a way that I and others can learn or have realizations from and often grow alongside the person, or learn from the lessons that they're teaching. I think everyone learns in a different way. I do like growing along with someone, but similarly, if there are philosophers and spiritual teachers teaching lessons that they've learned that aren't necessarily like going along with them, I can still learn that way. Like I say, I think everyone's different, so different ones will resonate with different people. I was mainly reflecting back on the time when, nearly a decade ago, that I mentioned in yesterday's video, when I had that experience that let's just call it like an attack, and very soon after that attack I had lots of other things going on in my life. So I'd recently had a breakup and I had to move house, and I was self-employed as a designer and struggling to keep kind of everything going. So I was in the house that I was with my partner, and he'd left, so I was paying for everything and without his help. And that wasn't so different from when we were together either, but that's a whole different story. So I was really busting a gut and working really long hours, and then I had this attack, and I still don't have like a massively clear memory of things, of the actual event, even though it's been so long. Like, often your body, like, there's a part of your brain that can just go like a screen and stop you from remembering things that are hurtful. And I think I had some of that, but I also was in shock for quite a while, and whether it was something that literally happened in the attack, or it was like the overwhelm of all the things I had to do, my brain stopped working to the extent that it had done, and it came to the point where I couldn't read anymore, and I couldn't use any tech properly. Like, I couldn't remember how to do basic things, and the services involved, the police and the medical people and things like that, weren't very focused on that part of like how my brain wasn't able to work. They were really focused on the violence and the injuries of a different nature. And I was never diagnosed with a brain injury or anything like that. However, years later, I had the ping moment when I was in a hospital with a friend who had had a sudden brain injury from a car accident, and I was learning about brain injury with him, and I had that moment where I was like, that's what happened. I had a brain injury and it wasn't diagnosed, and it is very common in violent situations where the services involved focus on other injuries, and brain injuries are often undiagnosed in cases of, say, domestic violence and things like that. It is a common issue that I've seen, whether it's been from my personal experiences with myself and my friends, or with working in different services that are like charities and things. We've seen it many times, brain injuries going undiagnosed. And I think you can obviously as well, if you are interested in it, give it a bit of a search, because I think there are YouTube topics on that sort of thing. You might have to dig a little bit, because I don't know if it's like the most common thing spoken about, but I have come across it on YouTube without searching. But like the algorithm does things, doesn't it? It shows you things. But yeah, because of however the brain injury was caused, and I do think there was quite a moment in my attack of where, like, a long time where I couldn't breathe, and it was so long that I couldn't breathe that I actually made peace with dying, because I thought that, you know, if you can't breathe for that long, you're not going to make it through. And then I woke up, so I'd not died. Or maybe I died briefly, I don't know, but a long time after I woke up and was fine and was breathing. But whether it was that, or it was that combined with a lot of overwhelm of things that I was trying to process, amongst them being my life situation, the things I needed to sort out, but also the coming to terms with someone who was close to me, who I trusted, becoming a violent attacker. So there was like so many factors to consider, maybe, that all combined, and my brain went boo and couldn't read or anything. But the services that were meant to be supporting me, that were like the police and people that the police brought in, and the police were they made suggestions of people to see and things like that, which was great. But everywhere I went, people were giving me leaflets, and it made me laugh, because I was like, I can't read. So I got one leaflet, then another leaflet, and then I just was at home with this like pile of leaflets here, going, I wonder if I'll be able to read them at some point. Like, I don't know what's happening, because there were leaflets about the process of courts and all these things that I had to make decisions on that I couldn't read. And then there was one day where I was sat in quite a state, as you can imagine, being like, oh no, how am I gonna like make a living and everything like this? Because I was like, I would get like a little moment of clarity and try and do a bit of work as a graphic designer, but then most of the time, like 98% of the time, it was just like impossible, just not a thing that I was able to do with this brain overwhelm. So I was just sat there in a mess, and something came to mind of like, well, if I can't read, but what I can just glance at like little things and see if I can take in that information. So my computer was on sleep. I have a Mac, and it's so easy to, you can leave it on sleep all the time. It doesn't seem to damage it or anything. And you just wake it up by moving the mouse. It's so easy that anyone with I don't know anyone, but perhaps people with a brain injury could just easily wake up the computer. And then I remembered how to get on the internet, which I thought was a huge step. And then once I was on, it was Safari I was using. I was like, Safari, that's it. And I was on Safari, and then I managed to get to YouTube, because it was in the default bookmarks as you open the internet browser. It's on the default bookmarks right there, and clicked on that, and then I ended up somehow on the School of Life, which it's not a channel I closely follow at all now, but at that time it's run by the philosopher Alain de Botton, And at that time, I guess kind of like the theories of life that they were putting out in the videos, it brought me messages I needed to hear that helped me understand how the person that hurt me could hurt me, and that was helpful. It didn't exactly directly help me decide about whether to go to court or anything like that. Like, I guess the leaflets might have if I'd been able to read them, but I just let that channel play, and the algorithms provided more things along that line, and that really, really helped me move through that period of time. And it was even more important for me with being so scared of people at that time that going and speaking to people I previously trust was like a big, scary step. So the thing is with having physical people around you when you've recently been attacked is you're still in the fight or flight, and all the adrenaline and everything is there. It's really scary. So it's hard to, even if someone is being really helpful, it's hard to listen, hard to take in that information. Whereas when someone's on screen, like I am now talking on a video, they're at a distance, they can't physically do anything. And you can take the information in and take it or leave it, and you can listen and go, okay, that was useful, or listen and go, okay, that's not for me, next, whatever. And everything's just like, there's like a safety in that distance, or that's how I felt at the time. And ever since that moment, YouTube has been a place I can go to whenever I'm overwhelmed, and whenever I'm like, okay, I need a break from seeing people face to face. I can't read anymore. I don't have the capacity to read anymore. And whether that's a brain injury or whether it was just like a really, really severe burnout, which is kind of related to brain injury, whatever it was, whenever I feel kind of like I'm getting close to that stage, or it could also be like an very, very extreme form of PTSD that affects the brain to that extent. It's all kind of, if you ever get to read, talking about reading and not being able to read, but if you can, and you get to look at a book called The Body Keeps the Score by Bessel van der Kolk. I read that the minute it came out, and that was quite useful. It's been out years now, I think, but and I think when I've had conversations with other people, there are actually similar books on the topic, and I don't know those books, but if you want to scope that out, just do a bit of a search, see what's related. I know, like, I don't buy from Amazon, but if you look on Amazon, they tend to do related titles that might be useful. So that was a good book to read through, and I gave it away to someone else to read, and I haven't reread it, and I've thought about rereading that one just for like sprucing up on the info about how the body and the mind as part of the body is affected by PTSD or any other, basically all your experiences affect. That's what it's about. The body keeps the score, so whatever experiences you're having, your body knows, it remembers things, and that's largely why I've had such great healing with craniosacral therapy and Reiki, because it moves those things that are stored in the body out. I've slightly digressed now, but yeah, so the point is, whenever I couldn't read or was like, no more people right now, YouTube has been the place I can come for information and to have, in a way, a bit of social time, kind of. It's a different kind of social time, isn't it? But to come through all of my healing steps with the support of YouTube, it's been so helpful that I don't know how I'd have gotten this far without YouTube and the YouTubers. And there might be other platforms that you use that might be really supportive in the same way, like you might have the other platforms, I won't go through them, but yeah, if you're not into like long videos but you're into visuals, like there are other platforms for that. If you can read short things, and you know what's out there. But for me, it was always YouTube that was my go-to, and just like a really easy way to take in information in a way that my brain could. And it was really hard to do just the basics in way back when, in that era. So to be able to learn through that platform, not only was it helpful in my healing and my learning, but it gave me a lot of confidence of like, okay, I'm still learning and I'm still growing and I can still do these things and I can move forward. And yeah, I'm just so grateful for all the YouTubers who've been around through all those times, and right up to present day YouTubers I still go to when I need a bit of if I'm overwhelmed or a bit confused, I need a bit of clarification, or if I'm on the cusp of understanding something and I need a bit of a forward, a bit of a little bit more information to come to this point. They've been fantastic, and I credit my survival and my ability to just be here functioning to a lot of YouTubers, and possibly even more so than the people live around me, more so than counsellors that I've tried, to be honest with you. And it's just been remarkable what they've given. And I do always want to go back and tell them, like, if you ever see me in comment sections on other channels, it might be going back years on their videos, but you'll see that I say to them, like, thank you so much, this is so helpful. Like, wow. Sorry, my nose is running, allergies. I think you can still hear me. Sorry. Didn't want to leave you with that. With the evidence of my spring allergies. And my apologies. I'm not editing things, so you're going to have to see that. I'm sorry. Yeah, but they've been remarkable. So the School of Life was definitely the first one that got me onto this journey, and I have to give them the credit for that, even though I'm not currently an avid watcher. And I think that's just because, having been through counselling training and things, there's not much they put out now that I haven't kind of got my head round and understood. So, but depending on where you're at in your life and in your journey, like, they were exactly what I needed for years. I was eating up that that channel, and then I think from there, the next, and I think it was just the YouTube algorithm that brought me to him, but the next person I came across was Eckhart Tolle, and I think a lot of people are still very, they even admire him, that they really appreciate him, and he's got books out, and I've listened to the audiobooks, possibly from the sources you're not meant to on YouTube, because again, reading those long books was probably going to be too much. Like, it's easier to consume as a video, as an audio. So yeah, his books were very helpful and brought me out of, again, really hard times, a different era of my life, but really hard times. And he's been fantastic. And I think, again, it was like a few years where his work online really supported me. And then I'm not sure where that led. It just led to so many other kind of, I guess you could put them all under the bracket of spiritual teachers. A great one who supported me again for years was Nikki Sutton, and she has a couple of channels. So it was her first channel, Spiritual Awakening, that helped me a lot, but she's since brought out channels for meditation, and she might have 3 channels now, I'm not sure. I still kind of bob in and out of her channels a bit, but she's not doing as many lessons now, more kind of like supportive meditations for your life and how to help you with, well, or kind of anything, but manifesting and just things like having a good night's sleep, things like that. So yeah, I'll dig out her stuff and list it below, and other people that I mentioned, and any others I think of that have been really prominent with helping me with my healing. But I think my biggest spiritual teacher online at the moment is actually a tarot reader, I just think she's so talented. She really goes deep into the depths as well. Like a lot of tarot readers, they look at, oh, when are you going to have your next kiss and things like that, which is sweet, but not exactly what you need when you're like deep in doing your healing and you're in like what a lot of people call the dark night of the soul, and you're like really deep in your shadow work trying to come through out of the dark. And she's just able to really go into the depths with you. She's not afraid of really saying it how it is and really helping you with like the proper work, the deep work. And yeah, her channel Roseology, it's run by Hazel. She's fantastic. And she's only been doing it a few years, and I've been with her since near the beginning. I don't think she's got many videos I haven't seen, and she also doesn't post loads like some tarot readers. She posts like every week or two, or like there's a bit of a gap in between, which I quite like, because I don't like my spiritual teachers to be like really, really involved, but I like that when I'm like, I'm just to the point where I need to do a bit of a check-in, and then that's usually when she posts. Like her timing is always impeccable for like the self-development kind of healing and growth work. So yeah, she's fantastic. They're the main ones that have supported me, and I mean offline as well. I do have my own tarot set, and I've made my own little cards, and I guess they're probably in some earlier videos I've done, and I might use them again for the audience, not just for myself, but they are great for myself for a check-in. I also just do automatic writing, or there's different words for it, like channeling, where you ask yourself a question and you write your response without thinking, you just let it come through. And that's really helpful for me as well. And similar, like messages will come through like they do with tarot, that are supportive. But yeah, I would check out Roseology, even if you're not normally into tarot or the kind of esoteric side of receiving messages. I mean, it's up to you, of course. If something more philosophical like Alain de Botton resonates with you, go with that. If you're more open to different messages, you might be surprised at how well the messages resonate with you. They're incredible for me. But also different people resonate with different readers. So if Roseology doesn't resonate with you, feel free to glance at others, if you don't already, and see who resonates with you. There are so many online now that you can access for free. We live in a really incredible time that we do have that, and you can of course find different readers, tarot readers, psychics, whoever, energy readers, who you can have a one-to-one session and pay for, and I don't know exactly how to find them, but you can find them locally, and that is an option if you're not into the group readings online. But to have those for free that you can access, it's incredible. Yeah. So yeah, that's my big shout out to YouTube, and just to say like what an honour it is to be able to provide something to the platform myself, and I just feel really honoured to be a part of it, and anyone can as well. Like it's incredible that we have this option and that we can communicate with each other in this way and support each other. Yeah, what a wonderful world. And I know it's like a big, what would you call it? It's kind of a monopoly, and it's like this big company, but and I don't normally back a lot of big monopolies, but the provisions that YouTube has provided the world, and from my own personal experience, me as well, it's fantastic. And I know everything on the internet is about how you use it, and there's all sorts of less good things going on the internet, and those exist, but I've been awfully lucky that I don't seem to come across anything particularly bad, and that I'm able to stay in amongst what I consider the best of YouTube and online as well, other platforms. And the algorithms like me. they give me what I need, so I'm very grateful. So thank you, YouTube. Thank you, the YouTubers who've helped me. Everyone who, whether I mentioned you or not, has been around, and I hope that just my gratitude reaches you, even if I can't remember the exact videos or your names or anything like that. I hope it reaches you. Yeah, but that's all for me for today. And yeah, I hope you're having a lovely long weekend if you're watching near around the time of posting. But whatever you're doing, I hope you're doing well. And if you have like a specific YouTuber that's just gone like wow, like really supported you in your life, if you want to mention them below, just for anyone else who might see in the comments, or even for me, like I'm happy to go exploring. So feel free to share anything that's really supported you in whatever way, and it can even be more kind of off-piece things like that indirectly support you a lot, like comedy and things like that. Whatever's helped you through, whatever tools you've used as well, not necessarily YouTube. Whatever you feel like sharing, but no pressure. Don't feel like you have to out yourself and your techniques if you don't want to, but the option is there to share, and I would very happily receive any information that you want to give, and I'm sure other people watching would appreciate, if they get anything from this video, then they'll appreciate your comments as well. So yeah, thank you so much if you do want to provide anything. Yeah, and take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day, of your week, your month, your life, whatever is going on with you. And take care, and perhaps see you in the next one if you feel drawn to come.